Thank you to the Writers Hotel, and thank you to Jersey City Writers and all my friends who came out tonight.
Yeah.
Hello. I divide the laundry, the darks from the whites. I'm doing ordinary magic, like God saying, "Let there be light." I always imagined the Holy Ghost to be our invisible mother giving birth to the universe. One hand on my own swollen belly, I wonder how painful it must have been that she turned pale. Why don't we know her name? My phone lights up, and the app tells me my baby is the size of a lime. That makes me miss margaritas, the tequila, the salt on the rim. I swipe right to view the ultrasound. The fetus glows, a constellation. I can see his hand. Her hand? The wave could mean hello or goodbye. Hello, I whisper and start to cry. Lunar Sonnet. I am the moon to your madness, a moon that tugs against the tide in your body. When I fall into orbit around you, your tissues swell, you can barely breathe. You are brimming with brine. Your blood pulses are irregular. Vessels tick and you can feel the clicks as one chamber after another fills. Your skeleton has a floral symmetry like coral. You believe it is a plant. They are listening, but it is animal. Fingers writhe like the head of Medusa, an akathisia of motion caused by my pull on your anchor. They cannot rest until I interlace my fingers with yours. I am the curse, I am the cure. Porcelain. Lift up the stone where the worms turn the dead into dirt. Part the darkness with your fingers, the rich mud clinging to creases in your hand, a black crescent under your nail. Shine a flashlight on your doll in the blue dress, her eyelids moving to close when you lower her to a shoebox. You are dead, you explain to her, so she knows not to rise. Bury her under the slate stone, take your white chalk and write her name on the slab. Imagine the doll will disintegrate like the cat did. Dig her box up in wonder, see how little flesh and fur is left, mostly bones. Yet the doll will persist, her entire body a bone. Years later, a tall, dark stranger shoves his fist into your face again and again, your lip splitting open and spilling enough blood to mark the ground. This is where he killed me, you point to the spot. Your eyes close and your mouth cannot move, as your head is encased in a garbage bag, black, slick, and silent. Rex scores. The dinosaur dunks a basketball. He's taller than the humans on the block. He tosses it in the air with his tiny Tyrannosaurus arms and bops it in with his chin. He is terrible at dribbling. Although his blood-tinged saliva drips from his mouth, he doesn't have much strength in his arms to keep the ball bouncing. His teammates maneuver him above the basket, then pass the ball to him. The cheerleaders are practically singing about the Rex hex they are putting on the other team, the Eagles. The Eagles may have evolved from the dinosaurs, but Rex is the original feathered friend. Rex is the first dinosaur player to compete on an American high school basketball team, although dinosaurs have been playing among humans for years in Australia. The dinosaur comes from down under. He is an exchange student from a rural area, an hour from Sydney. Now he lives in a large warehouse in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, in a building not zoned for dinosaurs. But at least he can fit his head through the garage-sized door. He can afford to pay rent by hosting live indie rock shows on weekends at $10 a head. He loves Imagine Dragons, but hates Dinosaur Jr. There is nothing junior about any dinosaur, he says. His girlfriend's mother is unaware that they are dating. She is fossil phobic and would hate to see her daughter hanging around the likes of Rex. Secretary. I'm unfolding paper clips at my desk, scattering undone trombones to silence the symphony in my head. Her heels click as she approaches the door. She has a pen between her lips when she walks in, a coffee cup in each hand. I pretend to work, shuffling papers, as she spits the pen onto my desk and hands me my coffee. I study the red lip print. For my own pleasure, I pocket the pen. Groom. I lend her my red sweater to cover the cuts on her arms, too extreme even for the bar we're in, Niagara on the Lower East Side. I mention James Joyce, and her eyes become so wide, the whites threaten to engulf her tiny pupils, 2 periods, part of an ellipsis. My 2 pupils are the rest of the sentence. I don't want the conversation to end. I want to dip my thumb in my beer, suck off the foam, and smooth down the cowlick on the back of her head. She snaps the head off a plastic Groom atop a wedding cake and flicks it away, as if to say, "Who needs men?" "No," I said. "No, I don't know." One day at brunch, I see she has scratched an A into her face. Some asshole called her an adulteress, while the men are half the problem. I want to soothe her scab with calamine lotion, as if it were just an itch, a festering hester inside her skin. When I was her age, I cut my wrist just a little bit, a teensy cut enough to show blood to my best friend. I knew physical pain would stop the crying, if only for a few seconds. I paint myself as the older and wiser one, but I'm not sure which one of us is Beatrice and which one is Dante. Who is leading whom through hell? 3. Must we tour through the flames before we float up light as ash? A pastor wants to groom us with filth on our foreheads. Last week, after my confession at St. Patrick's Cathedral, I swore the Irish priest came out from behind the veil and sat behind me in the pew with a look of joy on his ruddy face. I had told him about kissing her after we had both drank too much, and I wondered if his glee was from hearing my lie that I would be coming back to church, or from a more voyeuristic thrill. I call him Dimsdale, he who calls our mother a ghost, however holy. The Holy Ghost was so light on earth, she could only be bound in a bird. The sweater I lent her was red, the whole torso, the color of blood. The future is a spoon. My face looks upside down in the curve of it. I sit on a train backwards. I look out the window as the world flashes red. I don't know where I am going. I miss my home, now as small as a bug. I don't use the spoon to stir my coffee, mixing the brown and white. I don't crack an egg with the rim of it. I focus on the metal of the spoon, willing it to wilt, to melt with the power of my thoughts. I want it to droop like the head of an old rose. But the spoon stays solid and inscrutable. The present is a fork, and I bite into the moment. The past is a knife, it cuts into me. Scoop out the brains of the monkey, calls the spoon. This is a delicacy. As I taste it, the prions warp my mind into a new shape. The last one is On Lucid Dreaming, after Elizabeth Bishop. The craft of flying isn't hard to conquer. So many dreams are lucid and elastic. It seems like I can slip past any monster. Bounce above streetcars where I can conjure. Rubber limbs, abilities gymnastic. The craft of flying isn't hard to conquer. I skim the clouds, allow myself to wander. Birds and unicorns, I fly past fantastic beasts, and none of these will be a monster. I'm glinting in the sun and on my honor. Green scales creep up my arm, I'm spastic. The craft of flying isn't hard to conquer. Bones are light and hollow and I squander. A chance to bite a hawk, it's drastic. The gnawing ache to taste another monster. As I breathe out flames, I start to ponder in which cave I shall hide monastic. The craft of flying isn't hard to conquer. One only needs to turn into a monster. Thank you.